Good morning. Good morning. It's not me baking anything, it's me baking hot. Oh my goodness, I'm hot. Oh dear. Morning, Sandra. Nice to see you here. Morning, June, Catherine. Glad it's better over in your way in Ireland. And where did I see Nicola? A sunny day. That's good. That's good. Morning, Elaine, Teresa. Oh, goodness me. I am a little baked like a bean here today. I don't know why, but there's just no breeze here today, and there has been. So there you go. So I'm going to show you my little domed aperture card. I've seen various different domed cards, and they're always quite big, and they always rely on either buying an aperture card in the first place or a triple aperture card, which I found has been harder to get, or alternatively, they are made out of much bigger. And you know, it's my aim to try and get you a card that's made out of something that is an A4. So that's what I'm doing today. I do have a delivery coming, and it says between 10:30 and 11:30. So if I have to go, it's because of that. Anyway, so here we go. Here is our domed card. So it sits up like that. I've seen this sort of thing with fresh flowers. I don't know if you've ever had the pleasure of receiving such a thing with fresh flowers, but it's a similar sort of thing. And I've got a sentiment verse inside as well. But this one obviously is not a Christmas one. This is just, I've made that with the bee balm flower and some papers that I had, which were John's, but from donkeys years ago. But I thought I'd make a Christmas one for you as well. So I'm going to make the basic card, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to make it into a Christmas one. Okay, so pop that to one side, and we get ourselves one A4 piece of card. And of course, my trusty scorer and cutting trimmer. So an A4 piece of card, and I need to first of all trim that along the short edge to 17 centimeters. So that's just about on that edge there. So 7 centimeters, 17, sorry. So I'm going to pop that in, and I'm just going to trim that. So it means that I'm losing just a slither along that edge. So I don't need that bit. And then I'm going to take out my cutting blade. And as we said before, that is just a simple, it does sort of warm up, if you could call it that, and then that just flicks out, as long as you've got it down here where there's a little bit here that says blade change notch, and that's where you change your blades. And yes, to start off with, it will be a bit tough if you have got one of these, but it soon wears off. You could, of course, not take that out, but I know that I will just cut it instead of score it. So I don't trust myself, basically. It's not you, it's me. So then I'm going to go along my long edge. Now this will look a little bit double Dutch, so I do apologise for that, but you'll see what I mean in just a second. So I'm going to score it at 10 centimetres to start off with. So I put the end of my card along the 10 centimetre line and score along there. Then I'm going to move it along to 20 centimetres and trim there as well. Okay. So then I just need that last little bit, and it's a bit of an odd thing really, because if I said that I wanted 0.5 centimetre and I did it like this, it's really tiny to be able to sort of manoeuvre. So what I do is I will put it along the 0.5 centimetre, up to the 0.5 centimetre line on the other side of my scoring line, just so that I can work with it a bit easier. You can do it however you wish, obviously. So that's just that last 0.5 centimetre along that side. Okay, so That's all the trimming and all the cutting that we need. So now you've got a trifold with an extra little bit over the side there. In actual fact, it's going to go that way round so that your thin piece is on that side. So now we need to think about the centre. We're going to make this into an Aperture card. And so I've got myself 2 of the plain nesting oval shapes from Press Cuts. They are 2 that sort of, you know, the next size is on, so they are the nesting, how they go. And I'm going to first of all take the middle one, sorry, the smaller one, and I'm just going to pop that into the centre of my Aperture here. Now, more or less, I would know where that was, but because it's not crucial here, it doesn't matter if I don't get it quite on. So that's a good thing, I think. Just take some tape and I'm just going to run that through my machine now. How often do I change the blade? I use, hold on a second. I use mine a lot, as you can imagine. And I think I would say I change my blade probably every 3 months, but I do use it a lot. And if it's only lasted a week, then I would suggest that maybe that wasn't a good blade to start off with, which is not good, obviously. I need to keep this piece because that's going to go in the centre, so there's no waste. So I'll just keep that to one side for a second. Okay, now before I go to put my card all together and to make life easier, I'm just going to put some patterned paper on here first. Okay, so now I'm going to turn it over. So at the moment I have got my small 1/2 centimetre piece on that side, on my left hand side. Now I'm going to turn it over so that this is actually the front of my card. And I've chosen some, again, old papers. These are Phil Martin old papers. And I'm just going to cut some of those down. So I need to choose whereabouts on this pattern I want, because obviously it is a patterned piece. And then I am going to cut 2 pieces that are 9.5 by 16.5. So the 16.5 I can already do. So I shall pop that in there, cut that to 16.5. Oh, or score it to 16.5. There you go. And then I will need 9.5 once and 9.5 twice. So that I've got 2 pieces like that. And then I'm going to trim this piece down to 16.5 again. And just working out where I wanted my pattern actually. But yeah, so this one is going to be to 8.5. Okay. That to one side. So the 8.5 I put to one side. So one piece is going to be my front piece here, and it's going to go on there. Just wondering if it would get Happy Christmas in. Which piece do I want on my front, folks? I think I'm going to have that piece because I will get some of the sentiment in there. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I need to put this on my front and I'm going to tape it into place. Now this sounds a bit daft, I know, because I could glue it, but I'm not going to glue it yet because I want to cut an aperture out. So I'm going to tape that into place. I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to get my pen and I'm going to go through this aperture and just draw around. Now I could do it with a pencil. The pen line will have disappeared, so it doesn't matter too much. But I just wanted to do it so that you can actually see where I'm at with that. So you can see quite clearly that that is my aperture of my ovals there. Okay, so then I'm going to take my bigger die and I'm going to pop that into position so that that leaves an even space all the way round my line that's on there. And just take that and pop that through. I'm just checking that that's all in the right place, which it is. With the cutters, it does depend on what sort of thing you're cutting. If you are cutting a lot of thick card, or especially glitter card or anything like that, you will find, unfortunately, that your blade will be blunt very much quicker because you're actually taking it across the rough surfaces. And obviously if you were taking it just through paper, which this one is, then you won't have quite so much trouble, but it does vary. It does vary. Okay, so I'm now going to take my card back, and that is my front. So my card is then going to go onto my front there, leaving me with this little white aperture there. Okay, I'm just going to, whoops, stick that into position. Woo! Don't need any foam, not making it any bigger than it normally is, just sticking that into position. Whoops. Leaving myself with that nice little white border all the way around. So just stick that down. Okay. Then I'm going to just check, because, hold on a second. Just check which side I'm going to have this. Yeah. So then on that piece, I need to stick my slightly smaller piece, because I've got that little bit there. So I don't want to go onto that bit at all. So it's just my slightly smaller piece. You may want to just burnish this and fold this so that you can see exactly where you go. And it's just that I've got a model there that I can already see. So obviously you can't see exactly, but I'm not going on that little flap bit there. Okay, so now I'm going to do a bit of burnishing, a bit of folding. But first of all, I'm going to take this tiny little bit here and fold that down. In a minute, you'll get the excitement again of seeing me do the red liner tape, because I know that you like to see me do that. Although I must admit, I was getting quite good at it yesterday when I was doing this. I thought, well, if only they could see me now. Okay, and so then, having burnished those, I want to put my last piece onto here, because this is going to be the inside of the card. So I could then leave my white oval in the centre to write in, or I could, which is what I am going to do, before I pop it down, I'm just going to pop a sentiment onto the centre, because there's plenty of room to be able to do both, write on it and put a sentiment on it. And I'm using the smoky grey in the VersaFine, so that it is nice and fine and not too in your face, if you see what I mean. And then that is going to go into the centre there. Okay. And then you have got plenty of room to write to and from and all the business. So then finally, I'm going to take my red liner tape and put it along that very thin edge there. So a little bit there. Like so. When I get the cutting plates of what? The cutting plates of the grand caliber ones, you mean, or the Gemini? Perhaps you can let me know which ones you mean. I'm not quite sure which ones you mean. Perhaps you can let me know. See, there was me telling you that I was doing this all right yesterday. Aha. There we go. So now this little line here needs to fit just inside this little line here, because we're going to bend this slightly. So it is a little bit fussy, and it is best that it is just fractionally inside that score line. And then you can, sorry you can't quite see, you can get your bone folder just inside here, which is going to be completely hidden, but then you can press down so that you can see where that line is going to be. Can you see what I mean? So that that presses nicely. So that, I'm just going to give this one more crisp fold there, so that when you then turn that over, you've got a little bit hanging over. That is how it should be. I found that if you try to not give it that little bit hanging over, the card isn't weighted properly, and you could always put extra embellishment on there, but I don't think it looks a problem myself anyway. And then when we open it up, you've then got your sentiment there, all nicely done. You've got your nice papers, and it all looks as one. So now I'm going to just pop something, an embellishment. As I said, if you feel that you could do it, you could put real flowers, but of course they wouldn't last long. So I have got myself a variety of bits and pieces, and as this one is Christmas, we're going to go for a poinsettia. So I've got some of the twigs and bits and pieces that are all on order and coming very soon, and you've all been very patient waiting for them. I've cut some of them out of the actual papers that came with this set here, because they're solid on one side, solid colour on one side, like you could see that that was red, and they are mottled and whatever on the other. So it gives me a variety to put down on my bit here. Now, just a second ago, I did have indeed my glue glaze gun, but I noticed that it's fallen in my bin. There we are, I got it. Luckily, I'd emptied my bin before today. So I'm just going to use that to stick it down, and I'm going to do a variety of the different colourways and the variety of the different pieces. Okay, so I'm going to pop that into the centre there. And then I'm going to do a little bit I'm going to chop that about a bit, and a little bit that's going to come down the bottom here, and I'm going to turn that round the other way. The ones I use are the grand caliber ones, and yeah, I use the white and the raspberry plate. The only thing I would say about it is, please be aware that if your machine is a brand new one, mine isn't, if it is a brand new one, by using a different plate, it would invalidate any warranty. So, you know, just be a bit careful of that. But however, it's just the only answer as far as I'm concerned. Just works all the time. I'm just going to pop a little bit more in here. So although this looks a little bit of a mess here, as much, well, it doesn't look a mess, artistic mess. It will all be hidden, so not to worry too much about that. So I'm just going to do one more down the bottom, like so. Now, I'm someone that prefers to put my foliage down first and then my flower on it, but other people work differently. So if you do, that's absolutely fine. And for my flower today, I'm going to use the pinstripe poinsettia, but I'm going to use it in glitter foam. because I want to, basically. So let's just sit that to one side. So the glitter foam that I've got now, Crafts 2 do have a glitter foam, except that it is not available anymore in anything other than silver and gold, and I wanted to do red. So I have got some of the Leanne Creative. Oh my goodness, I should have told you to put your sunglasses on first. It's glittery, isn't it? So I've got 2 lots on the website today on the Facebook page. So I've either got this one, which is called Red Tones, which is 4 A4 sheets. You can see it's not showing a very good colour on here. It's beautiful Christmas red, this colour. So it's either Christmas red, pastel pink, pink and white. So that's 4 sheets of it, 4 A4 sheets. And if you were going to be using it to do the flowers with the flower plate, you can get 4 lots out of 1 A4 sheet. Or it also comes in just the red of 10 sheets. So there is a choice there, and they are on the website, okay? So if yours is out of warranty, Sue, you're absolutely fine. Then you definitely need those other plates in your life, or I reckon you do anyway. So now this foam, the glitter foam, is not the flower foam that we have normally. It isn't the one that is moldable. It is just cut out. You can just cut out with it. And it cuts out really easily, even though I think you'll agree that one of these poinsettias, these pinstripe ones, are very, very detailed, but it still manages to cut out that. And again, I think that you'll find that although you can get some cheaper foam elsewhere, I have found that I easily break my cheaper foam. So I've decided that I'm going for this one anyway. So I'm just going to take these ones out. Pop that to one side. Just need to poke out the last few bits of this. So yeah, as I say, with my plates for cutting the Gemini machine, I find that the Gemini is my go-to machine. Everyone has preferences. Everyone prefers one to the other. I think I have still got nearly all of the machines that one has ever made. Which is a bit embarrassing, but you go through your favourites. And then I hurt my shoulder about nearly 2 years ago by lifting up something very, very heavy, trying to think I was Superwoman, and I found out I wasn't. And having had an injury to my shoulder then, which lasted for over a year, I found that doing all the cutting and everything with the, I used to have the Platinum, Spellbinders Platinum, and that is excellent as well, but it's a manual machine and it made my shoulder hurt where I was cutting so much. So that is the main reason why I've gone over to an electric machine. I'd have had a cut and boss and I've broken that because it was supposed to stop if it couldn't go through the machine, and it carried on and ate everything in sight, basically. So for my electric machines, the Gemini is my favourite, but the warping of the plates is their own plates is really an issue for me. And so subsequently I found something. The plates that I use here, so the white and the raspberry, they are for the die cutting. If you want to use your Gemini still for embossing, like an embossing folder or something, you wouldn't be using those anymore. You would be, I refer back to my 2 clear plates that comes with the Gemini. So these are only for the cutting. But in all honesty, you know, mine, as you probably have noticed, look as if they've seen better days, but they don't warp. I had to get a new raspberry one just recently, and that's because I accidentally trod on it. It fell to the floor and I hadn't realised it was on the floor. I know it's big enough. I know it's big enough. But yeah, so I it snapped in half, and I was concerned that although it was still working, I was concerned that it would snap in half completely whilst it was still in the machine. And then I would be, well, without machine really, wouldn't I? So yeah. So I'm just going to take these final bits. As you can see, it cuts out really well. I haven't had to pull any of them in order to get them out. I'm just taking them all out. So let's get rid of all those little bits. I think it does show that you've got quality with this, to be honest with you. So I'm going to put one of the glass stamens through, and so we start off with the small one. But before I do that, I'm going to take my pokey tool all the way through just to give it a start off. Make sure I get it in the middle, just to open up that foam before I go to put it in. And this one, oh, and there was a quick little bit still there, like that. Okay, so I'm going to take one of my glass beads, the red ones, glass bead stamens, I should say, and I'm going to start off. I'm going to turn my hot glue gun on because that's going to be there, and then I'm going to just pull that through. Oh, and I snapped it. We won't want a centre one then, will we? So I'm just going to wait till the hot glue gun heats up, which it has. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue. Oh goodness. Hold on. I need 2 pairs of hands here. Just to hold that in place. So just holding that at the base until it sets a bit, preferably without burning oneself. Just hold that down. Okay, just moulding that into place until that is set, like so. Then I'm going to take my next size and add some glue to that as well. A little bit there. And I'm going to bring up my next flower, and I'm going to make sure that it's on alternate petals, yeah? So that this point here is between those two there, just to give it a better thing. I'm just holding that into place as well. And then bring my last glitter one. And bring that up, and again making sure that my petals are alternating there so that I've got them. And just sort of hold that, and that will hold without me having to get my fingers anywhere near the glue. That's holding it there quite nicely. It should be under the Facebook Live, Heather. It's Leanne Creative one. And yes, it may well be on the last page, Marjorie, thank you. And then to finish it, I've also cut from my classic poinsettia, so the usual one of the largest of the poinsettias, just to finish it off really. I'm going to pop that back in there. So just in green, not in glitter, just in green. Just so that that gives it a bit of a green sort of a background there. Okay. Then I'm going to pop a bit of glue, she says, just around the outside, just to stick it all down a minute. And then we just need to cool that off a bit. And I'm going to bring back in my centerpiece. So then I'm going to get myself a pair of scissors, and I'm just going to cut this down to at the bottom, cut that stamen off, the wire off. And then I'm going to take my glue and give it a good old bit of glue there. Oh, gosh. And stick that in the centre. Just make sure I've got it in the centre because I'm not looking at it from up above. Oops, that's better. Let's give it a second to hold. And there we go. So there is our Christmas one. And I noticed John was fiddling when he was doing his. And I don't know whether it's going to look any good on mine. So let's have a look. Of taking just the stamen and then popping that in. Yeah, I think it does actually. Oh, we've got to do that now then. Actually, it's already stuck itself to the glue that's underneath there. So that was just taking the glass stamens and then just popping them. Just going to make that smaller. I'm just going to put a bit of glue onto the end of it so that it's, the other one managed to catch on the glue that was already in there from underneath. So I'm just going to slide that in so that you've got the most glittery card that you ever did wish to have, haven't you? So there you go. There is our Christmas one. There is our non-Christmas one, depending on what flower you want to put in. Obviously, this one is very, very glittery, and this one is just your plain. It's the crystal silver card that I've done with that one. So, standing up nicely, no problem. No, you couldn't put it flat in the post. I do agree. A box or something's required for that one. Okay, so I will be back on Sunday morning at 11 o'clock with this week's Sunday special. So thank you very much for joining me, everyone, today. And I will let you know when those plates are in, Sue. So I'll keep looking out for them, but they have been out for a little while. So I will just check with them. So as I said, thank you very much. Try and keep cool. And I'll see you on Sunday at 11. Thanks very much. Bye.